DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Wedding Chat with Dave Ternier and Jeremy Brech.
Hey, David.
That's us. Hello,
Jeremy. That is us. That's so us. Dude. Sorry. There's a dude in the car. Hey, how was your week? How's your week been? I guess we're only Wednesday.
How's my week been? Yeah, what is today? Today's Wednesday.
Today's Wednesday. Because we do this every time on Wednesday.
Same day every week, right?
Same day every week.
My week's been pretty good.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I've been busy prepping for Midwest DJs Live because I have presentation that I'm supposed to be doing, and yeah, it's first time for everything, right? So always a few butterflies trying to figure stuff out. Go, God, is this gonna reciprocate with people? Is this gonna, all that kind of stuff? You're a veteran, of course, at this, so.
Yeah. Are you going to be speaking English or are you speaking Canadian?
I'm going to be speaking a beetje Nederlands.
What?
I'm going to be speaking a little bit of Dutch.
Seriously?
Spreken Nederlands?
Well, then no one's going to get a thing out of your seminar.
Well,
no. How to speak Dutch to a whole bunch of Canadian and English people.
No. Come on, Jeremy. You've been in a Marbecca workshop. Words don't matter. I'm going to say it. I'm going to express it in such a way that I'm going to move.
Is that what your seminar is going to be about? That would be cool. Like creating emotion in not what you're saying, but how you're portraying it. And that's a workshop. That is a Marbecca workshop. You're exactly right.
That it is. Mark Farrell, you can thank the Dave and Jeremy show later. Or what the hell do we call this thing again? Wedding Chat. Sorry, John. Right.
Yeah. Sorry. But Dave and Jeremy, let's get to some information. Let's get moving on something so people actually stay and watch the show this time.
Yeah, true that. Thanks to everybody that is joining us tonight. Thanks to everybody that's joined us for many, many weeks now. We really should keep track of what episode is this. Oh, John does for us. This is episode 25. Did you know that?
Holy smokes, we're halfway through a full year, almost ish.
Jeremy's from South Dakota, folks. Give him that.
Yeah. That's close, though. That's close. Hey, huge shout out to last week. Do you say it's Stefan or Stefan?
Stefan.
Okay, I thought you said Stefan one time. I'm like, okay, maybe it's a Canadian thing. But huge shout out to him last week for joining us. Again, I didn't know exactly how my reception was going to be. And he stepped in and it was so cool bouncing conversations off of all three of us. And, just hearing his story and what he's done with his business and such. So huge shout out to him. If he's on, let us know, send us a message because that was super cool. Thanks for joining us last week.
Something tells me he may be back down the road too. He really enjoyed being here with all of you watching, and Jer, I think he really enjoyed our time together as well. So that was a pile of fun. Stefan, if you're listening, you'll be back.
And something to keep in mind, if you like his message and you like him as a guy, or as a person, and then also, his work that he does, like Dave, you'd said that, his marketing is so if he's somebody that you guys are interested in, maybe start talking to him, start talking to John and say, hey, I would love to see this guy do 15-minute segments, 45-minute segments, whatever it is, or jumping on a couple shows throughout the week. Because again, I think he's great on a microphone. He's great presenting to people. And that's his, as an MC, you can tell he's a phenomenal MC because he's comfortable. And I think he's got a lot of great knowledge to share.
Yeah, true that. Oh, Stefan is watching. He is on the Facebook feed tonight. He says,
"Yeah,
guys." Now, thank you, Stefan. It was a blast. It's a true blast, man.
Good thing we said all the good stuff while Facebook Live was live. And you didn't hear it before we went live because, man. No, again, thanks for joining us, man. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and Stefan had said, "Hey, I can be here tonight if Jeremy's not back from Midwest or from Lighting Symposium," but Jeremy is back from Lighting Symposium. So
Lighting Symposium.
Take 30 seconds to chat about that because we've got some chat going on here already. So
yeah, Lighting Symposium is a great it's a great opportunity for anybody, no matter what level you are, when it comes to lighting. And I presented on Monday and I presented on Tuesday. If there's anybody who was at Lighting Symposium and you're watching this show, please message and let us know. Give us some feedback. Give me some feedback. How was the event and what did you guys think? But it's great. I mean, they had 49 attendees at Lighting Symposium. And wow. I mean, it was so cool. The energy in that room, people were they were soaking up knowledge. And I presented a seminar that I'd never done before, and it was well received. So, well, I think it was well received. It seemed to be well received. A lot of great feedback from the show. It always seems like things are gaining ground and people are always, taking things to that next level. And the fact that they go to Lighting Symposium, they're willing to do that and they're able to do that. So it was a great, like I said, a great energy. Electro Voice, huge shout out to them at their headquarters, and then taking us out to First Avenue last night. Oh man, watching Purple Rain on the stage where basically Prince performed Purple Rain for the first time on that stage. It was just pretty surreal. So, and then there's also, I can't really talk too much about it, but if you ever go to Lighting Symposium, Audio Symposium, if you ever do anything with Electro Voice at their headquarters, they'll usually take you out to First Ave and you get to watch a really, really cool video of a live performance of Purple Rain. And that's all I'm going to say. It's pretty, you're going to get chills. And I know Entertainment Experience, I'm pretty sure that they go there as well. So check that out. Bill's got that coming up in November. That was not 30 seconds, but anyways. So what's our topic tonight?
Well, we had some interesting feedback from one of the topics that we touched on last show, which was based on someone's question.
Our first one.
And that was, what advice would you have for somebody going into their very first wedding?
Yes.
And Stefan shared some nuggets. Jeremy and I shared some feedback as well. And then it was discussed, maybe we have that as a topic for the show, talk about our first weddings, if we remember them at all.
Mm-hmm.
Which, really?
Oh gosh, yes.
Oh, I don't have a clue.
I can tell you everything.
Well,
and it's not because it scarred me for life. It's just because it was like that first moment, it was that this is the beginning of it all. It's something that I'd never experienced before. I'd never experienced being so much in control of such a big moment for people. And that was it. And here's the thing. So I've been in high school. I was the starting quarterback of a state championship football team. We went to basketball state tournaments. I was one of the leading scorers for that. And the reason I'm saying that is because I started my business when I was 15. And all of those events, being the starting quarterback, so on and so on, I wasn't experiencing those things until I was a junior, senior in high school. When I was a sophomore, I started basketball.
Can you translate that for us Canadian folk? Because we have no idea what those terms mean in relation to
junior and senior.
Yeah.
So so senior is like the class when you're 12th grade when you graduate.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So 11th grade is junior. Then you have sophomore and you have freshman. So freshman, you're like you're a freshman into high school.
So that's grade 9.
Yeah. Yep.
Got it. Okay.
Yep. So, like I said, it was just that, at age 15, I just got into high school at that point. And to be in charge of so much, that I think that was such a, like I said, it didn't scar me for life, but it was such an impactful moment in my life, knowing that I look back now and that was the beginning of it all. And I want to go back and give that person back their $250 that they paid me to do their wedding. So my business has come a long way. I'll just put it that way.
I have to say, my first wedding, I wouldn't have thought anything about it was a big deal. Now, I don't know if the geographical differences or the regional differences come into play here, but did you do any MC work at that first wedding of yours?
No. And that's just it.
Oh,
that's
okay.
why it's like, I look back and it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe like all I did was, so now we have DJ EP, right? You use DJ EP?
Yep.
Okay. So there's all these planning guides and all this, let's build your event. Let's create your event. Let's design it from the first time we meet until the week going into your wedding. Back then it was, I called them a couple days before the wedding.
Yeah.
I flipped over this, what was supposed to be a contract. I got a pen out and I said, what dance do you want for your first song together as husband and wife? I didn't even know to ask these questions. Someone said, well, they're going to have a first dance. You're going to want to know what that song is. And this was the days of CDs. It wasn't just, I can download that song. So it was like, crap, 2 days before, in South Dakota, you can drive at the age of 14. So I could drive, and I had to go down to the CD shop and buy these CDs that I didn't have for these songs that they wanted. And I remember how crappy my setup was. Like it was so bad. I spent money on tons of CDs, obviously. I spent money on a couple, they were 5-disc CD changers. And then I had an American DJ or American audio cross mixer, which was terrible. And then I believe I had a wired mic. I don't even think I had a wireless mic. Right. But I needed a really cool light truss, I didn't know what a light truss was. All I knew is that lights were supposed to go, or something was supposed to go on both sides of you. And there was a bar that was supposed to go over the top to hold all of your lights. What did I do? I mean, you've seen some of this stuff. I love to build stuff. So at the age of 15, I'm like, I didn't know what a light truss was. I'm going to build something. So I got some wooden plates or some wooden bases, big squares. I cut them out, and I got galvanized fence posts. And I basically had these couplers that were mounted to the plate or to the wood. And then I had galvanized fence posts. And then it was a galvanized curve, and then galvanized fence posts going across. This was my first light truss.
Wow.
And the reason I remember this so much is because I had a friend of mine. Again, if you've ever heard this story and how I got started, one of my best friends, he helped me with all of our, when we were in high school, we did all of our shows together.
Okay. And
then that's how we built into a multi-op, is he took on the second system, so on and so on. And we had finally gotten past the whole galvanized piping, but I had my Gemini speakers. Oh man, those were so sweet. I had a huge 600 watt or my micro or something like that, my Crown amp. But I guarantee my sound was terrible. I guarantee I really didn't talk on the microphone much. And which was probably okay, because at the age of 15, I had no training. So I didn't know what I was supposed to say. I didn't even know I was supposed to welcome people, or, it was like, all right, please welcome the bride and groom to the dance floor, play. And that was probably the only talking I did the entire night. I don't even know if we did toast and speeches. But the reason I remember my light system so much is because I look back and I'm like, holy crap, that sucked. But luckily, I had a wedding. It was at the Holiday Inn downtown. It was up in this little room. It was like the size of a closet. That's where my first wedding was at. There was like maybe 30 some people. So thank God. I
remember this from 20 years ago,
dude. Oh, I remember all of it. God. So then I had another wedding like 2 weeks after that, and I am loading all of my stuff into the same hotel, but in a different room. And I'm like, I'm missing my galvanized piping. Where's it at? We forgot to load it from the last wedding. So it was still upstairs in that closet room, the small room. So luckily we're at the same place. I could put my amazing light show together and run my lights. But, I actually used, now, as you know, I use Show Express to do all my programming and lighting and everything. But I originally used, those little switchers where it was like you push a button and it flashes on, or you can flip the trigger and it'll leave the light on. And you put the power pack up on the top bar where your truss or your galvanized piping is at. So that was how I ran my lighting. And truthfully, I used to run my lighting forever on that thing. So I started with it, and I basically went from that right into Show Express. So that's
you just made me think of my first light switcher box. Man, damn it, I wish I wouldn't have thrown that thing out. That thing would be so gold right now.
Well, we still have ours.
We still
have 4 of them.
Mine was about would have been a wooden box. It was probably about maybe 20 inches wide.
Yep.
And it had 8 Edison plugs maybe on the back.
Yep.
And light switches on top. We hand built the whole thing. A buddy's dad was an electrician, so he wired the thing for us.
Oh man.
Probably nothing legit about it, but God, I forgot all about that thing.
The stupid stuff we did when we started out our businesses, and there was nothing like this. You know, there was nothing like shows like this. There was no YouTube at that time.
That's true.
Oh man, we just had to make it up.
Well, Keith made a comment here saying, "Hey, let's see if your first wedding went better than mine." He says, "Well, mine wasn't too bad. I just forgot my speaker stands, so I just placed them on the table next to me. That worked."
Hey, you know what? Sometimes you just have to make do. You have to troubleshoot. You have to say, this obviously is not going the way it was supposed to. So how do I make it work? And truthfully, you know what? Don't feel bad on that, because one of our guy who was running the warehouse this last summer, he forgot to load speaker stands, he forgot to load speaker stands in one of our DJ vans. So he had to make shift, he had to make some things happen without speaker stands as well. So it doesn't matter how seasoned you are or how much staff you have or how much help you have, that stuff still gets overlooked.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So, I don't remember my first wedding. I mean, well, it might have been in the hall in Cochin, God, years and years ago, but I can't tell you for sure, and I don't really remember much from it. I certainly, that maybe was the first one. I've never really thought of it. I was up on the stage. How the hall's been so renovated now. I used to have these old Fender speakers. I wish I would have taken a photo of those too. They were,
oh man,
these weird shaped things. Like they were really tall, and if you were to look at them from the top, they had this weird. No, they were so wide relative to their depth. It was really bizarre.
Huh.
Man, they had old canvas bags. Yeah. Oh.
If we only would have taken pictures back in the day, man,
we didn't have these things back in the day because we could take lots of pictures.
I know. And probably the only reason people took pictures of our booth back then was probably like, look how crappy this looks. Snap.
Yeah, I'm totally putting that in a bad DJ's album on Facebook one day.
That's going to show up on the 1% solution.
Yeah. So, advice for a DJ going into their very first one. Let's make this a collaborative experience with everybody watching on the YouTube feed and on the Facebook feed. What advice would you give to somebody who's never done a wedding before? Let's say a month from now, 6 weeks, they've got their very first wedding coming up. So they've got some time to still do a little prep. It's not like it's Saturday. It's not like it's 3 days away.
Yeah.
What advice would you guys give? Write it in the comments on the Facebook feed or on the YouTube feed. I'm on both here. And we'll share those and we'll discuss those. I can so relate though to you calling them up just a couple of days before. My contract was literally a half sheet of paper where I would write their name, phone number down, where it was going to be, and that was it. I'd write down how much it was, and I think I don't think I even took a booking fee back then, did I? Or maybe it was like $25 or $50. I can't remember what it was.
That's so sad.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. How much were you going out for when you first started?
Oh God. I mean, it would have been 250, 275, something like that.
Same here. And I mean, at the age of 15 years old, that's a lot of money.
That was bank, baby. That was
like, you're paying me how much to do this? And I raised all my money, or I got all my money from washing hog barns and walking bean fields and detasseling corn, all these really crappy jobs.
Right.
I basically just saved up my money, and it's like, you know what? I want to do this. This is going to be a fun hobby. And I never expected it to become what it is today. I never had that vision.
Right.
And so that, again, I look back and it's like, man, it's pretty incredible. Playing with my Gemini speakers and my homemade light system. And it's
let's chat about a couple things that have come from the comments here. So Larry, thanks for being here tonight. Larry, oh God, I'm going to butcher your last name. I shouldn't have even gone there, Larry. Damn it. I should have just said Larry.
You're just going to say Larry.
Larry. Lesniewski?
Why are you trying?
This is on the Facebook feed. Anyway, first light show was 4 different colored flood lamps with those 4 little flasher buttons in between the lights and receptacle. Yep.
Nice. Yep.
Larry says Smith. Just call me Smith. Nice. So anyway, he suggests find out what time events are supposed to happen at and plan for those to go wrong. This is a line I use with all of my couples when I'm putting the timeline together, or when I'm showing them the example of a timeline in a consult. I always say, you'll notice that I have everything written down to very detailed times, like 6:35 p.m. Grace is going to happen or whatever. So I always tell people, but of course we all know this is a wedding, and probably none of it's going to go according to plan, but it's better to go in with a plan than no plan at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely, Larry. Find out what times events are supposed to happen and plan for those to go wrong. I would just say plan for them to happen not at exactly the right time. Be flexible. Understand that this is a very fluid, very organic event.
And that's a great point. I think the thing to help you stay on track, or trying to keep the agenda on time, is just communicate with the other professionals. So that way, for instance, I actually took advantage of an opportunity this last weekend where the best man and matron of honor just finished their toasts. And I don't like to do, and please take this and run with it, I don't like to do the bride and groom's thank yous and then tear down tables and then try to refocus people on the dance floor during the first dance. Okay.
Why are you tearing down tables?
Because sometimes we'll have tables on the dance floor.
Oh, yeah.
Because of space reasons. Okay. So I talked to the photographer. I said, okay, they're going to do their thank yous, or I'm sorry, they're going to do their toasts. So best man, matron of honor, they're going to do their toasts. And then I'm going to have the tables removed before we do their thank yous. He's like, okay, great. And I said, here's what I'd recommend. Go take them out and go do some sunsets real quick while we're tearing down those tables. And then once they come back in, we'll be ready to do their thank yous, go right into their first dance. So here's what I did. They sent them out. They're out taking pictures. We're removing tables. Okay. So the bride and groom, all the work's being done. They don't have to be there. They don't have to know things are happening. But once the tables were done or torn down, and I saw that they were still off in the distance taking sunsets, I gathered everybody and I said, I got on the microphone, kind of like what we learned in Marbecca, basically like, hey guys, let's do this. I need everybody to get out of their seats. I need you to make a huge circle around the dance floor. Okay. The bride and groom are going to come in and they're going to do their thank you. I didn't tell the crowd, or I didn't tell the guests that they were going to come in and do their first dance. I said, they're going to do their thank you. And I want you guys to be really a part of that. Make them feel completely and total amazed when they come in and they see all of their friends and family in this big circle. They came in through the doors. All of their friends and family were there. They basically went through this tunnel to get to the dance floor. And the bride, you can just see, is just like, she's like wiping her eyes. Oh. She gets into the center. I don't say anything except for when they come through the doors, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome. I hand her the microphone and she automatically goes into her thank you. The groom goes into his thank you. They go right into their first dance with all of their friends and family around them. It was a surreal moment. It was
really neat.
Pretty cool. And again, I took advantage of an opportunity of something that had to be done, removing the tables. Hey, photographer, go get some sunsets. Okay, now that that's done, let's kind of build this moment. And you could just see like everybody was just, they felt so cool making this big circle around the bride and groom and having that moment with the bride and groom.
So I had a quick question for you. So when it comes to first dance, gathering guests around the dance floor, is that something you routinely do or not? Because I've been back and forth on this actually.
Yeah, so that's a great question. I mean, it depends. It depends on the crowd. It depends on the couple. It depends on the moments we've created throughout the evening. Because if you've already created something, you don't want to duplicate it because, hey, I can do this again. So every event is different. I wouldn't say that, oh, I always do this or I always do that. It just depends on so many different facets in the evening.
What would stop you from doing it? Assuming you hadn't done it once before that event already, what would stop you from gathering the guests all around?
If the bride and groom never left the room.
If they had never left the room.
Is that you're asking what? Why wouldn't I? Hold on, back up.
Let's just. It's just it's normal. It's just a normal everyday wedding. You know, whatever has happened. Dinner's done, toasts are done. Now they're going to go into first dance.
Yep.
Would you invite people to the edge of the dance floor, or would you not, typically speaking?
No, if the bride and groom are still in the room, I don't want to be like, okay, bride and groom, I need you to stand in the middle of the dance floor. Now I need everybody to gather in, because really what you're doing is you're not creating a moment. You didn't let a moment happen. You're trying to build a moment. And I think it creates a delay, or it creates something where the bride and groom are like, okay, I'm really feeling uncomfortable because we're standing in the middle of the dance floor waiting for our first dance to start. And now everybody's coming around us. And, you know, it has to be spontaneous. I think that's the word I'm looking for. It has to be spontaneous.
Got it. So there was a period of time where I nearly always had the guests come around the edge. And it was particularly impactful with first dance audio edits, because the closer I can get people physically to each other, more intense the whole moment with doing a first dance audio edit is. Because, you know, when you see somebody crying, odds are increased that you will also start tearing up. So it became a real function of staging, whereby, okay, I wanted this to be, you know, collectively as most powerful a moment as possible. So prior to even introducing a bride and groom to the dance floor, you know, they're sitting at the head table, they've just finished speeches or whatever. I would then say, okay, for this next moment, we need everybody to come on up and gather around this dance floor, because we have a very special moment about to happen with, you know, Susie and Jake. And Susie and Jake are sitting at their head table while all the guests are coming up. And then I introduce them, and then I have them walk out to the edge of the dance floor and introduce them for the first dance. I hit play, they walk out, they start dancing.
I think it would definitely work. And I'm not saying that's wrong by any means.
No, of course.
I prefer to create something, like I said, spontaneous. So when I'm doing a grand entrance and I know that the bride and groom are going to go right into their first dance and the dance floor is cleared, then there's certain venues it works at. There's certain venues it doesn't work at. There's certain times it works. There's certain crowds it doesn't work with. So you have to know so many different elements that you're battling and that you're working with. Yeah. And like I said, there's times where I'll go right off of the introductions right into the first dance. Same thing with having all of the friends and family around the dance floor at that point. I think there's so many elements that you kind of have to keep in mind. And again, this isn't stuff that I did at my first wedding.
That's the stuff you didn't do at your first wedding.
No.
Yeah.
I didn't think about any of that stuff.
I know we're tangenting slightly here, but this is really fascinating to me. I had a planning session with one of my June couples last night, and I did this girl's sister's wedding back in April 2012, I think it was. And she remembers distinctly how she felt standing at the edge of the dance floor at that wedding, because back then I always did this with, 99% of the weddings I was a part of. And she said, Dave, I want you to make sure that you bring all the guests up to the edge for our first dance.
That's cool.
And I'm like, so a part of me really does miss. Now, why I stopped doing it is twofold. And WAB Mobile Entertainment, sorry, I don't know your first name because that's all it says on YouTube for me, but you've just brought up love stories. So this actually segues a little bit. Since I started doing love stories ahead of first dances, I rarely do this now because there isn't the moment. That would be very interruptive to stop, to between the love story and first dance to then ask the guests to come up. Now, it could be argued, bring guests up before you do the love story. I think is too long for them to stand there, but I don't know.
No, that's exactly what I was going to say. Plus, think about people with kids. Right. If you have them standing there for a 5-minute love story and these kids are running around or maybe even running on the dance floor during a moment like this, that's not what you want. That's going to completely ruin the mood, the atmosphere, and I think really take away from so much.
Yeah. And I will say the other reason that I stopped doing it automatically was I think for the most part, photographers really enjoyed it, but I hadn't really considered in a big way the photographer's angle, and that being, okay, now they have very limited physical space to move around to capture first dance. Now, I think it's 50-50 though, right? They get some really incredible shots too, because their guests are all in the background and there's not just this. I mean, I work in some, Legion halls from time to time, small town halls, VFWs for those in the States, VFWs, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And, in some instances, the background of all those guests would maybe look a lot nicer than some of those halls I work in. So this is something that is actually top of mind with me right now as I go into my big wedding season. I'm going to be evaluating venues and the physical space we're in and how the night is laid out, because I think I need to bring this back to a few weddings, because there is something about that physical presence that really adds to that moment.
You brought up a great point, Dave, and there's a guy who teaches a workshop regarding staging. And when we say staging, we're talking about placing things in the right spots and creating backgrounds and Bill Herman, the Entertainment Experience, he teaches you about staging. And I took so much away from the Entertainment Experience and just the staging part of things. And again, as a lighting designer, that's a huge thing for me, is why does this have purpose? Why am I doing this? Why is this angle like this? And actually Bill opened for the symposium. I'm just going to say Bill for like 10 minutes straight. He opened for the lighting symposium, which, Bill, he has like the blue police beacon, and that's his light show. So, but his opening was phenomenal. I thought it was perfect. He talked about how staging creates emotion, and how lighting creates emotion, and how lighting can tell a story. And it was a great way to open up that show. But the reason I bring up Bill and his staging aspects in the Entertainment Experience is because there's times where I'll make sure that I have the wedding party in the background during the first dance. They're not just sitting at the head table taking a drink or anything like that. They're in front of the head table and they're the backdrop. Yeah. So again, you're going to learn so much in that workshop. And again, like you said, there's moments where it's really great to have all those people around and have those as the backdrop. And that's why I said it depends on your crowd. How many people do you have? And then it also depends on how much room you have to work with, which is exactly what you said. You want to make sure that you're not making it difficult for the photographer, and you have to communicate with the photographer and ask them, is that okay if I bring everybody around the dance floor? Most of the time they're going to say, oh my gosh, that would be awesome. Mm-hmm. But you might have some photographers who are working on a 10 by 10 dance floor and be like, yeah, as long as you keep them, a good 10 feet away from the dance floor so I can move around. Again, that communication is going to be key. And true. Again, segueing back to our first weddings, I didn't think about that stuff. I didn't even know there was a wedding photographer.
Right. Yeah. So true. So true. By the way, Larry's last name is Lesneski. Thanks, Larry. Appreciate that.
Smith.
And he says work with photographer, videographer as well. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Now, a couple of people have made comments about ask a fellow DJ to come along with you to your first wedding who has experience, and or go and shadow another DJ. I think those are both great ideas. I think that has to do a lot with, developing some relationships in your market. In the photography world, that happens all the time. I run at least up here it does. I've got I'm part of a wedding vendor networking group, and there are constantly photographers saying, hey, anybody available to be a second shooter this weekend, or, if anybody wants to, just reach out to me. And these are, unpaid intern positions, if you will. Sure. But, you get to go along and be a second shooter. And maybe that needs to happen more in the DJ world.
That's so as a multi-op, obviously for you, that's different. For a multi-op, all of our guys, they're out 6 months as a shadow assistant. They're out 6 months before they actually do a wedding on our team. And as obviously for a multi-op, you have that opportunity, and you kind of gear them towards, this is how our company works. This is what our company does. I would almost shy away from having a DJ go with me or going with a DJ, because you need to differentiate yourself. You don't want to be that same DJ company that is your competition or in your market already doing this. You don't want to do that. You want to be you. So I would say you definitely get some great tips, but don't try to mimic and don't try to copy what that DJ is doing and say, this is what I do. I do exactly like he does. I just charge less.
Okay, so I'm going to throw something back at you.
All right.
Photographers have zero issue doing that. And you want to talk about somebody that can get copied. There is an industry where they can really copy.
Not necessarily. Okay. Because
to the extent that DJs can, yes, it's not what you do, it's how you do it, of course.
Yeah, it's all about the photographer's eye. Okay. A second shooter, probably not the main focus when it comes to the pictures. They're more doing a different angle at a different shot. But there's photographers that have such a distinct eye. They get such amazing detail that the second shooter's not getting. Okay. But and people hire the photographer because of their talents, not because of the second shooter's talent, and not what the second shooter is learning from the talent.
Perfect. So just substitute the word DJ in for all of that. People hire you because of the talent you bring to the table.
Yeah.
And likewise. So I have no problem a DJ coming along with me. And I've hosted many guys who've said, Dave, can I come along, ride along for a night with you? I'm like, absolutely. There is one requirement I have, and that is that the individual has shown some initiative toward education first. Maybe they went to a conference, maybe they jumped into a workshop, something. I need to see you have a little skin in the game so that I know that I'm going to be of great value to you as well. It helps give that person a little perspective as to what they might expect coming out with me.
Right.
It's not, somebody can go ahead and welcome how I do, or do a grand entrance how I do it, but they're only going to do the what. They're not going to do the how, truthfully.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Keith says, I shout out my friends in my networking group all the time. Yeah, Keith is actually a really stand-up example. Keith, quick shout out to Keith. Keith is out in Waterloo, Ontario. And Keith has been just galvanizing DJs in his region in a way that's really quite something. He's got guys coming out to networking nights and this type of thing. And he has been very vocal with, hey, if anybody wants an extra hand, let me know. I'm going to come out and hang out with you for a night and do whatever you need, because I would just love the experience. I don't know that I've ever seen anybody set aside their ego so much like Keith has. He's like, look, I'm a couple of years into this. Keith, I can't remember. I think you're more than a few years into this, but I just want to learn from as many of you as I can. And in return, he's hosting all these great networking opportunities for DJs.
That's cool.
So shout out to you, Keith. You're an inspiration, my friend. Keep up the great work out there. And I wish more DJs were that open and said, hey, I want to come learn something. So look, if I can be a free roadie for you for a night, count me in. I wish more DJs were like that.
Yeah. Did you know Bill Herman makes you pay him to help him load up his gear, set up his stuff? Because I remember a couple of years back, I'm like, Bill, I would really like to see how you work a room. I'd love to see. He's like, sure. It'd be like $1,200. You can help me load in. I was like, he's kidding. He was serious. He was so serious.
Keith says over 10 years, Dave. Thanks. Yeah, I knew it was longer than that, Keith. I just so two quick things I want to bring up. So this water thing
is vodka.
It's not vodka. If it was vodka, I'd be happier than never mind. Anyway. It's hilarious how many people from Mobile Beat are drinking water because of something I told them about. Did I tell you why I'm drinking so much water?
No.
I didn't?
You're dehydrated? I don't know.
So there's a pile of benefits to drinking a lot of water. Among them, weight loss. Obviously, you're fully hydrated and that type of thing. But it helps me eat a lot less.
Oh yeah.
Because of how much water I'm drinking. So there's this is a takeaway for everybody here. And I know this sounds ridiculous. Bear with me. You can laugh.
Drink water at your first wedding.
So there is this app. I'm assuming it's multi-platform, but I don't know. I'm an iPhone guy, so I know it's available on iPhone, called Plant Nanny. And when you first pop up in the app, it says, how much do you weigh? yada, 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 which your activity style like. And then it tells you roughly how many ounces of water you should be drinking a day. And then it says, what vessel are you using? And so I say I'm using a water bottle. It says, how many ounces is your water bottle? I say 32 ounces. It's like, okay, you have to drink 5 of these water bottles a day, Dave. And I'm like, 5? And then here's how it works. And I know this sounds ridiculous.
I already know where this is going, and it does sound ridiculous.
So you plant a plant in the app, and you have, every time you drain your water bottle, you hold down this button here, and you feed that water bottle to that plant. If you don't water your plant enough in a day, it dies. And it does so in dramatic fashion. I had no idea, 0 idea. I'm like, when Hannah, an Australian exchange student that we used to have living with us, she was on the floats about this. And I'm like, that is the dumbest idea in the world. Like, app is gonna, are you kidding me? Well, I am here to tell you, folks, as are people who keep tagging me on Facebook, Thomas Heath, Bud Moyer, a bunch of them, who are like, this is ridiculously addictive, Dave. And Bud Moyer actually will tell you right now, his weight's falling as a result.
Yeah, he's in great shape. I mean, we went on that hike, and
yeah. Anyway, it reminds you throughout the day. It's like, hey, have you watered your plant here? Like, oh, I gotta finish that water bottle so I can. So it's completely on the honor system, of course. But once a plant grows up and it grows up at different stages, then you pull it out and you plant it in your garden where it's permanent. Anyway,
okay, so it's funny that you mentioned app, because when I was doing a review on the color band.
By the way, this is water bottle number 5. As soon as it's done, I'm done for the day. Yes, carry on. Color band.
I was going through this, and this is the new Bluetooth technology from Chauvet. I did some videos on it, and in that video, I actually talk about, I mean, everything has Bluetooth nowadays. And I was doing some research, or I was listening to something that was on the news or whatever it was, Good Morning America, and there's a water bottle that has Bluetooth in it.
Yes, there is. I know about it.
Why would you need a water bottle with Bluetooth? And basically what it is you have an app on your phone, and it reminds you to take a drink. It reminds you to stay hydrated throughout the entire day and to drink all the water that you need. Like you're talking about your plant. So this water bottle says, hey, you haven't picked me up in a while. Your phone buzzes, and then you basically drink your water and stay hydrated. It's crazy, like all that Bluetooth technology and all these things just to keep yourself hydrated. You're right. It's like, this is the stupidest thing that is addicting, and I love it.
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
It's a guilty pleasure.
2 comments are being made. Yes, but can you pass by a bathroom without thinking, should I stop? Says Larry. And how much water you're going to be peeing all day long? Admittedly, certainly perform that activity a lot more in a day. But
when you do a wedding, obviously I don't drink, during a wedding or anything like that. But when I do a wedding, we'll get like the pitcher of water.
Yep.
And I will go through easily 2 pitchers, sometimes 4 pitchers of water a night.
Yeah, I go through easily 2, sometimes 3. And for those who are wondering, because I see some comments going on here, I use the facilities between 4 and 5 p.m. Typically cocktails start at 5 here. And it doesn't matter if I drink those full 2 pitchers or 3. I'm good until after the event's over at 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Not me. Once I break the seal, I mean, it's like, I'm like, okay, this is a long enough song. I'll be back. So we're gonna leave it at that for the night. John, are you back?
Hold on.
We're not done. Sorry, John.
There's 2 things I wanted to say: the water thing, and just so everybody's aware, Jeremy was gonna pull his curtain across behind him tonight, and I'm like, you know what? No, that is like DJ work. Like that looks authentic, and I love it. So I just wanted to point it out because Jeremy's like, I don't know if I should do that, and John and I thought it looked great.
Yeah. So every week that you guys are watching, I basically have 2 curtains, and I just pin them up behind me. So really, that's my backdrop, and I cover all the stuff behind me. So here's the sneak peek of what my office looks like in our warehouse. We have all of our video cabling and everything, all of our Cat 6 cables, and then over here we have all of our, well, pretty much NLFX owns that wall. So all of our XLR cables. In the drawers, I've got all of our lighting clamps, our color gels, all that kind of stuff. The middle one, we have batteries and video technology, so switchers, splitters, all that kind of stuff. And then we have lighting parts over there. So if I ever have like some of our lights that go out, I've got additional parts back there. I can just repair them myself. We have over here, we have audio stuff in that one. And then we have projection stuff in that one. And I mean, there's cabinets and all this other stuff around me too. But that's
and just for context, your office is what, like 8 by 12 there, maybe 10 by 12,
probably 10 wide by probably about 12, probably 12, 10 by 12. Yeah.
But that's just a tiny little part of, how big's your shop total?
We're right around 3,000 square foot.
Yeah, so that's like a small snippet of this massive shop Jeremy has, where their big trucks parked in, and just here everywhere. You have it was really neat to get down there early last month. I guess a little over a month ago now.
Dave got to be a part of Shop Time.
Yeah, it was very cool. It was very, very cool.
Top of Shop Time.
So anyway, we're Jeremy doing client meetings. Maybe he wants to have the curtain pulled back, but I thought for this show, look, Jeremy,
I don't do client meetings here.
He doesn't.
No, we have an office in Sioux Falls, so we actually live outside of Sioux Falls. Well, yeah, you know that we live outside of Sioux Falls, and then we have an office downtown Sioux Falls where we would meet with clients. And you know what? That's what we should talk about in our next show. Let's talk about client meetings and what you have to, what you prepare, where you meet with them, those type of things. I think that'd be a great topic.
Right. Outstanding. Well, thanks everyone for watching. First event. John, are you around?
Yes, I am.
Oh, there's the voice of God. Outstanding. Thanks so much, everybody. My name is Dave.
I'm Jeremy. See you guys.
And thank you for watching Bathroom Chat with Dave and Jeremy. You can catch Jeremy Monday night. He'll be doing our convention series Monday night show. I put the links in the chat. You guys can check it out. Have a good evening.
All right.